All right, babies. It's that time again. Oh, yeah. We are in, excuse me, 1 Corinthians 7. And it's kind of a tedious chapter of Paul giving his advice. In some cases, he makes certain that people know he's not necessarily speaking the word of God, or that he's getting the advice from the Spirit of God, but that it's his best advice on marital matters. So the gist of it is, he's saying, don't change your status if you were married when you became a Christian, stay married. If you weren't married, don't get married, because the time is short. Again, I think this is an error in what he was thinking, as well as those who put the words on Jesus's lips in the Gospels, saying that, you will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven before this generation passes away. Obviously, that didn't happen. Jesus isn't. It's impossible for Jesus to be incorrect because of his complete alignment with God. So in both these cases of thinking there was a end of the world coming soon, we have these types of admonitions, where in Paul's case he's saying, look, the world's about to pass away, so just stick with where you're at, what you're doing. Don't change things up. It'll only be a distraction, and the main thing is to stay focused on God. In fact, he says that right out at the start of the chapter, like, I wish you all were like me, like being single, so that you could just focus your attention on serving God and you wouldn't have any of these distractions in your life. That's pretty much it. I'm not going to really say much more about that. However, I will take the opportunity to discuss the relationship we have with God, which in its best context should be seen as a marriage. We know there's language throughout the Bible, from old through new, where God is passionately looking for Israel to return to him as his betrothed. We also have language in the New Testament where the saints of God who've committed themselves to Jesus are referred to as the bride. We also have the supper, of the marriage supper of the Lamb and the bride. So anyway, there's all kinds of allusions to it, just so you know. I'm not making this stuff up. And in my own life, which really I think is a big piece that's missing in a lot of the preaching and teaching we get today, especially in what's posted on YouTube, is people quite often will be teaching something, but they're not really relating it to what they're saying, how it has specifically impacted their life, their personal choices, their personal growth, and what their challenges are, and how these scriptural understandings have helped them to grow. And because of that, I just find it supremely obnoxious. Because anybody can get up and put some verses together, right? And try to come up with a message and preach it with enough passion and zeal that you get people's attention, and you might even get some positive responses out of them, including giving more money. But it's seldom that you just see somebody just speaking out of their life, like, hey, this is what's going on with me, and I'm experiencing strength because of this understanding. So that's for those of you who've been following me, that's the main focus of my broadcast here, is I want you to see how my thinking has influenced me to be strong in my faith, especially in times of difficulty, which I'm going through right now, like extreme difficulty. But you really wouldn't be able to tell it by how I'm presenting, but I'm just letting you know. I don't want to get into the details, because the more you think about it, the more upset I'll become. So I'm just letting you know, because I know that my relationship with Jesus is one as bridegroom and bride. He's doing everything he can to convince me of his commitment to me. And I'm doing everything I can think of to keep him happy. So he gets his needs met, so to speak, and I get my needs met. I know we can say, well, God doesn't need anything. Well, I think he created the world in the way that he did because it's in his nature to be intimate. So you might not call it a need, but it's as close as you can get to it, because he'll stop at nothing to get our attention and to get us to stay in fluid communication with him. So that we end up being his exact representatives in the earth. Oh yeah, baby. Did I say exact? Oh yeah, I did. Well, how can you say exact when only Jesus is perfect? Yeah, but when you have perfection living in you, what's your excuse that you're unable to love? What's your excuse that you're unable to exact his level of faith? There's only one excuse, baby. And that's you and me. And so and this is where Paul's right on the money when he says, I am crucified with Christ. Nevertheless, I live. Yet not I live, but he who loved me first lives through me. Oh, yeah, baby.